All right, everybody, we're getting started now. I just wanted to begin by first thanking everybody for carving some time out of their day for our webinar. It's obviously very topical content here, trying to understand how businesses can best adapt and plan for unpredicted situations like we've lived through in the last 6 months, and certainly a breath of optimism in the air as it looks like we're turning the corner. And we've seen a lot of companies survive through the challenges, but we're wondering how we can do better than that. And that's really the aim of our webinar today. In our view, it's not enough to just get through an unpredictable situation like the one we've been through, but how can we thrive in those circumstances? And we'll be looking at the Oracle Supply Chain Management Cloud Solutions today as an opportunity to take a challenge and turn it into an opportunity. So again, thanks for everybody for joining. Sorry. I'm Alex Josel, as mentioned. I'm the Regional Sales Director, supporting clients in their potential transition to Oracle Cloud projects. I've been working in and around the Oracle application space for the last 8 years. I actually used to work for Oracle and their applications teams prior to moving over to the services side of this industry. I've had an opportunity to work on over 400 projects, and with me today to help manage some of the presentation and specifics around the application is Ritu. Ritu, if you want to say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah, so yeah, sorry, please continue.
Yeah, so I was just going to say quickly, if you do have any questions along the way, please enter them into the chat box. We'll certainly pause and try to make it as conversational as possible. I think about this as an opportunity not just to learn about Oracle software, but also for us to answer any questions you may have. So please don't hesitate, and periodically throughout the presentation, I'll be prompting questions as well as letting everybody know that I'll be pausing to ask questions shortly if you think of any. Just a quick agenda for today. Really we want to spend the bulk of today's conversation talking about challenges that came to light through COVID, how Oracle can address those challenges. We'll take a live look at the solution through a demonstration. I'll be speaking to you about a client that we've done a similar project with and the success that they've experienced through Oracle cloud applications, and then a look at Oracle's warehousing solution, and we'll wrap up with some questions. But quickly, just a little bit about who we are as an organization, and I'll try to keep this brief, but I am quite proud of our team. We are a full-service Oracle Cloud partner. We have more than 1,000 clients using Oracle Cloud products, so quite a number of people using those solutions, and that spans the entire breadth of the Oracle Cloud stack. So I know we're talking primarily about supply chain management today, but our experience spans into ERP, HR solutions as well, and then just particular to the organizations that we've invited to today's webinar, we do have a large focus in retail clients as well, with over 60 clients in the retail space using Oracle Cloud products. And then that number jumps to over 100 if you include distribution as well. The only other thing I'd point out is just the scale of our organization. We are a truly global organization, but have a high focus in North America and a really large bench of consultants with over 1,500 resources working to support our clients. So, really more resources than we could ever bring to bear in any one project. But yeah, that's a snapshot on who we are by the numbers. And then just a little bit about, the type of services we provide. Obviously, implementation is one thing that comes to mind when you think about a system integrator. But, we really like to think about a more holistic relationship with our clients. So it can sometimes be more cost-effective or efficient to have services managed by a third-party organization. That's something that we're happy to do. We do specialize on transformative projects where organizations have had on-premise technology with servers and whatnot on their physical site, moving that to the cloud so they can focus more on their core business, which would be retail, food distribution, and grocers. And then if the opportunity arises and there's a need for anything on a custom basis, we also are familiar enough with the Oracle Cloud solutions that we can do custom extensions. And then, as you might expect, over the life cycle of a product, we look forward to re-engaging with our clients to do health checks and making sure that their systems are being utilized to the greatest extent possible. So yeah, that's a snapshot of what we do, and won't spend a lot of time here, but did want to point out that we've got a number of key clients in the retail industry. So certainly working with organizations that offer a large number of products in a variety of areas is something that we're very familiar with, and can understand the challenges that come along with that space. So Ritu, on to you.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
I will make you the presenter.
Yes, sure.
All set?
Okay. So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. So in continuation to what Alex just presented, I would now like to talk more about some of the challenges that the retail sector, specifically grocery stores, might have faced or might be facing during this pandemic. So in recent times, we have seen drastic fluctuation in the demand of some product categories. A very simple example are the sanitizing products or hand sanitizer or sanitizing wipes, or cleaning supplies like bleaches or paper goods like toilet paper. This is because these products have become more essential during this time. And another category of products where there has been an increase is in the health and skincare category, now that people have more time to take care of themselves while working from home. Whereas, on the other hand, products like beverages have seen a significant dip in demand, as these are some of the non-essential products and can be postponed while purchasing. In these times, it becomes absolutely crucial to correctly balance your supply and demand. I hope my screen is rightly visible to everyone. I'm currently on the slide deck.
It is, but you might just enter presenter mode, Ritu. We can still see like all the slides on the left.
Okay. I hope this is better now. Okay, perfect. So I would now like to continue with these points. So as I mentioned earlier, there has been a change or an imbalance in terms of the products that are having a high or a spike in the demand, and some of them have a dip in their demand. So it becomes important that we have a balance in these two different categories of product. So here we have listed some of the observed business impacts, like unplanned rise in demand for essentials requiring impact on supply. So as previously cited as an example, sanitizing product is the product category where there has been an unplanned rise in demand, whereas there is excess stocking of non-essentials. Balancing between these two is important so that we can meet the customer demand for the essential products. Also, due to disruption in logistics, workforce reduction, and unavailability of suppliers and manufacturers, the essential products might fall short in stock or might arrive late due to fluctuating lead times. Now, these are only some of the first-hand business impact that this pandemic has caused. Some ways we will be discussing now to see how we can help Oracle as an application or a solution can help you plan better ahead and manage these challenges in a better way. So now moving forward. Some ways of avoiding these situations, like running out of stock or material unavailability due to lead time or demand adjustment, can be dealt by following some of the measures which I would like to talk about while I'm on this slide deck. So here we have advised some of the solutions that can be helpful to plan ahead in this scenario and how Oracle as an application will help you here. So to mitigate or work with challenges, it is important that we can cater to material shortages and order changes by using a dynamic supply planning and avoid getting into situations where your customer demand is at risk by diagnosing and analyzing the root causes, which can be an important factor causing those challenges. Or analyzing causal factors impacting your demand, like, for example, this pandemic itself, and monitor changes in your demand stream. Now, uh, before I move on to the next slide of our solution flow or talk more about the solution or the application, I would just like to highlight that if anybody has any questions at any point of time in the challenges that I'm talking about or the solution points that I'm talking about, please feel free to raise the questions and we'll be happy to answer. Okay. So now before moving into the application or further talking about the solution or the demonstration, let us first understand the solution flow and how it can help us cater to these challenges. So now Oracle Planning Solution as a whole uh, works on various supply and demand data streams so that it can help you know exactly where do we stand in your supply chain planning. So first, it collects your data streams by from various areas or modules like procurement or inventory or customer orders. As Oracle Planning is seamlessly integrated with all these applications. After that, once it has the required data available, it analyzes and provide recommendations, which can be then really helpful to identify possible risk that can be a risk for your high demand items and diagnose the root causes for the same. Once we diagnose that, this will help us to mitigate the risk by adjusting and accepting the planning recommendation. Once the planner or the user who is viewing or reviewing all the analysis that the application has done, the planner can accept this recommendation and then the application is capable of creating real-time transactions and also notifying the required team member so that we know exactly what plan needs to be done or what actions need to be done to get out of a scenario where our demand is at risk. Okay, so I don't see any questions as of now, but please feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions. So now that we have seen this flow, what I would like to do is to move directly into the application and give you a little glimpse of how these points can be actually done or performed or seen in the application itself. So I'll be moving into the application. I will move out of the slide deck now. Okay, so this is the first glimpse you might have seen Oracle before, but this is the first page that we have for Oracle applications. And here now we are talking about supply chain planning. So I would move into Planning Central, which is basically the central repository for performing all different kinds of supply and demand and sales and operation planning. Now, in Oracle Planning Cloud, we can create enterprise-wide demand and supply plan, and then plan at more granular levels, like for each stores or region or for each product category and product. So I will now be opening one of the plans, and then we'll see how it can help you analyze some of your risks and how it can be mitigated. So let me quickly open one of the plan. I'll be first opening one of the analysis, which is called as demand at risk. So as the name, which is quite self-explanatory, this I am basically opening to show you how you can identify possible risk for your certain product categories. So let's take the scenario wherein you would like to see any of your products or product categories which has a demand and risk. So in this case, I would like to take this example, which is one of your sanitizing products. Now, Oracle Planning has built-in analytics, like you can see on the screen. This analytics shows your products having demand at risk, and each tile represents a product, and you can identify high and low risk based on the color of the tile. So the lighter the color, as you can see, the higher the risk. So by taking this example of sanitizing product, I can hover over this tile and see the quantity and as well as the value of the demand which is currently at risk. So once we know that, let us see why it is at risk and how this can be mitigated and what recommendation the application is giving us. So I will directly drill down and see what I can do to fulfill this demand. So I'll right click from there and I am in this next page, which will give me the recommendations. So now in this scenario, we can see these are the quantities which are highlighted as risk, and below we can see some of the recommendations. Okay, now let us try to understand what the application has suggested. So here, in order to cater or deal with this demand at risk, there are two recommendations. One is expedite your buy orders and expedite your transfer orders. So buy orders are your external procurement orders from your external suppliers, whereas expedite transfer order is basically an order between your internal organization. So this is where enterprise wide level planning comes into help, because it is also capable of checking the available inventory of your other stores. Say for example, some of your stores is might be located in an area or in a region which is not that heavily impacted, and then if it is not that heavily impacted, it might be having more stock availability. Then the application also suggests that you transfer some of your essential material from there and make it available in the stores where the demand is more high. And as far as the external supplier procurement order is concerned, you can see it also lets you know by how many days we need to expedite it. So now this is one of the ways wherein you can see why a particular demand is at risk and how it can be mitigated. So now the planner has a way of accepting this so that we can deal with this risk that has occurred, or you can further drill down to diagnose the root cause of it. So what I'll do is I'll just simply move on and see what are the exceptions and why, what has caused basically this risk or this demand of mine. So these are some of the built-in exceptions that Oracle Planning Cloud provides. And you can see there are a number of exceptions that can be really helpful. So for the example that we took of sanitizing products, you can see that the demand at risk due to which we have seen this entire cycle is basically has been caused because our demand at risk because of insufficient lead time. And you can also see that what is the required lead time and by how many days we need to expedite it. But in the current situation, it may also be possible that this has caused or this has been a situation because your supplier might as well be overloaded or maybe facing logistic disruptions. So there are also exceptions available like supplier capacity overload and few others. Similarly, when we talk about balancing or keeping a correct balance between essentials and non-essentials, maintaining enough storage space for essential products is also very important when you want to meet customer demand. This can be done by evaluating your spaces occupied by your essentials and non-essentials, and this might require reducing the inventory of non-essentials and restructuring your inventory. So here we also have an exception which is as titled as uh, reduce or items with excess inventory. So here it shows you all the items which has been in excess inventory and has not been consumed for some time. So this gives you an idea, and you can evaluate which all products you can relocate or ship so that proper structure can be maintained for the products which are actually required. But these items might be in excess in inventory because you might have had already existing orders with your external suppliers, or you might be having some more procurement orders in future with your external suppliers, and that can be because of your monthly or quarterly replenishment. And in that case, Oracle Planning also suggests you to cancel some of your orders, and this can also be seen as one of the exceptions. So you can see here Oracle Planning Cloud gives you very different um, range of exceptions, which can be really helpful in our day-to-day planning and help you make better decisions. And along with this, there are also other features like, for example, managing your safety stock or defining supplier capacity calendar, item substitution, which can be really helpful nowadays. For example, when we want to substitute a sanitizing wipes with a hand sanitizer, uh, such features can also be used further to optimize the solution. So some of the pointers, like we saw just now, how the product categories of maybe sanitizers or cleaning supplies um, can be properly managed by looking at the demand at risk and trying to understand their root causes and mitigating that. Now, before I move on to the second part, wherein we will talk about also the products which are not currently in high in demand, but might see a peak in demand in the coming time period, I would like to ask if anybody has any questions, or let me just have a quick look at the chat box. So, no, I don't see anybody. Please feel free to ask any questions if you would like me to reiterate something or show you a specific scenario or case. Okay, so now that we have talked about the category of essential products, let us also talk about such products which are not essential during the time of pandemic and are something that can be postponed. Say for example, like maybe beverages or packed food items, because these are the interesting segment of products, because nowadays customers might not be able to buy those or enjoy those because these are something which can be postponed. But in the coming time, the same consumers can go back and just say that, okay, I want to just buy all these things and splurge on all these experiences. And product categories like these will see definitely an increase in the demand. And similarly, like I previously highlighted, healthcare and skincare will continue to have an increased demand. So in cases like that, it becomes important that we are prepared beforehand. And Oracle Planning Cloud allows us to do so because it is also capable of generating statistical forecast based on the pattern and the sales that you might have had of these products. And the statistical forecast will be generated for the upcoming time period. And this will be considered forward for your further supply chain planning. So I will quickly take you through one of these scenarios where I will show you the statistical forecast generated and how it is going to be used further for supply chain planning. So now, taking the advantage of planning analytics, we will now see the tabular representation of demand forecast. Okay, so here you can see that the application is capable of generating the demand forecast, and the system also has the capability of considering user inputs, because of course the planners, your planners are more experienced and they know exactly how the trend is going to be based on the observation of the sales that has happened for different product categories. So the planners can also provide their input, and this is something that will be considered by the application for further supply chain planning. So say for example, if I want to this, I can make use of this particular row of adjustment and make the required changes. And then that becomes my final forecast that I can take ahead and work with. The same can also be represented very easily in a graphical representation. So I can just right click on this and drill down to the graphical representation of this. Okay, so very easy. So you might have seen that I'm just navigating from one place to another in context with the data that I want to see by using the simple function of drill. Now let us have a look at the supply plan, which should have considered this demand. So what I will do is I will quickly show you another supply plan, which is capable of generating supply recommendations based on this demand. And those recommendations get actually created into further real-time transactions, which can be your procurement orders or your internal warehouse transfers. And it also notifies a required team member on time to time basis. So what I'll do, I'll just quickly open one of the plans.
Hey, Ritu, just quickly, I wanted to say that when we're wrapping up our demonstration on the system, we'll ask if anybody has any questions or would like to see anything again. So if you might want to start thinking about anything you want to see at the end of our scheduled demo script, just now's a good time to start thinking about it.
Yep. Got it, Alex. Thanks. Okay. So continuing with the example that I took, wherein I said that the planner also can provide their valuable input when we are talking about statistical forecasting. So it is also important for you to know what is going to be your projected available balance. So I'll just quickly open one of the supply plans. So here the application is capable of showing you the projected available balance and comparison with how much you have or in stock, or what is your demand, or what are your existing orders based on the integration that it has with other modules. So this is just a simple Tableau representation, but it is quite easily navigated. So it can have a representation of daily time buckets or weekly or monthly. So it can give you different analysis of what is your demand or on hand, or what is your projected available balance. Similarly, I can also quickly drill down and show you the graphical representation of this, which might make more sense. So over here, you can see that this is just a very simple representation of what is going to be your projected available balance in the upcoming time period in future, side by side what is going to be your total demand. So in this way, you can exactly know for certain products how much you need to have in place in the upcoming time period, because you know what is going to be your demand, you have a better idea of it, and also how much is currently available. So by balancing out your supplies and demand and your inventory, your inventory stock, it gives you this representation of what exactly needs to be done. Okay, I think I'll just have a quick check so I don't have any questions. Everyone, please let me know if you would like to see a particular scenario, or if you have any questions pertaining to what you just saw in both the cases of high risk product categories, or the categories where we don't have demand right now but might have in the future, wherein forecast can play an important role. Alex, do you see any questions?
No, but that's okay. And if anybody has questions later on, or even after the fact, we're happy to answer them if we don't have any questions at this time.
Yep, sure. Okay, then I would like to just move on with our slide deck, and would like to give a brief overview of what we saw for the Oracle Planning Cloud. So Oracle Supply Chain Planning Cloud Suite basically provides an comprehensive end-to-end planning solution, starting from your demand management using demand-driven replenishment or diagnosing root causes which are impacting your supply chain and how your supply and demand can be balanced to meet customer demand. It can also help you collaborate, along different departments and get to a consensus forecast. And these are all the different applications which comes along with it when we talk about the entire Oracle supply chain planning cloud suite. Okay. Now I would like to ask Alex to take on over here to share one of our stories with one of our retail sector customers. Yep, Alex, over to you.
Sure. Thanks. Are you making me the presenter? Okay. Just a moment. Okay, great. So, in preparing for today's conversation, we wanted to bring to light a relevant case study that may be similar to what some of you are going through. And while we have a number of clients in this space, and actually we just signed on with another grocery store out of Texas called El Rancho. But we wanted to look at Rouse's markets because they've been a really great client to us, and they were in maybe not such a unique situation, but we're definitely in need of help. They were using some dated technology, an AS400 system with the old green screen, if any of you are familiar with that, and they were finding it really challenging to use, and it was not lending itself well to organizational-wide visibility. They have over 60 stores and about 6,500 employees, and we're really in need of a system that could help them get visibility into analytics across all of their locations as well as their inventory, and that's something we were able to do for them. Like many grocers, they had a tremendous number of individual products. They had over 100,000 SKUs, and we were able to deploy for them the Oracle supply chain management cloud solution, actually as part of a larger project. They needed help on the financials and with some other stuff as well. But for this conversation, we were able to deliver on the Oracle supply chain management cloud, which really helped them get some better reporting, so they would have better information and they could act more efficiently on what was happening in their stores in regard to stock, what's overstocked, understocked, when they need to buy, and avoid any shortfalls or overstocking issues. They were also able to set themselves up for a scalable platform. One of their goals was to grow as an organization, and the Oracle cloud system enabled them a system which they could expand and replicate in new stores without unnecessary effort. So that was really good. And then the other real big thing that they were hoping to achieve and were able to realize is a much improved user experience. So with the old green screen system, it was a little clunky. People were having a little bit of a challenge getting through it. Now with a modern cloud-based system, they're finding it much easier to use, much easier to navigate, make more informed decisions, and really realize the value of a cloud-based solution. So yeah, that's a kind of a snapshot of what we were doing with them. They're a real satisfied client, and if anybody has any questions on our project experience, I'd be happy to take that. Or if you have any follow-up questions after the session today, and you maybe like to get some more particulars on what we were able to do there, or any of our other clients in the retail or grocer space, we'd be happy to do that. I always consider case studies. It's great that we have this experience and it's relevant to what organizations might be able to accomplish. But if, as a prospective Oracle client, you're trying to learn from the experience of other organizations, we're certainly happy to provide that kind of insight as well. So yeah, I'll pause quick, see if there are any questions. If not, I'll pass it back to Ritu.
Thanks, Alex. Okay. So now I would quickly, like to talk briefly about some of the custom extensions or solutions that Evosys have been working on and have been involved in. So these are some of the uh, listed over here are some of the custom solutions that Evosys has been working upon and have been these have been also deployed successfully in various customers of ours. But I would now like to briefly talk about the Evo Mobile supply chain solution that we have, which is titled as Warehouse 360. So Warehouse 360 is basically a best of breed mobility solution that has been developed by Vosis. It is an Android-based mobile solution which can be used like a plug and play, and it is completely integrated with all the modules of Oracle ERP. It is also compatible with different industries like healthcare, manufacturing, retail, maintenance, and another important feature, which is a key differentiator, is Warehouse 360 is also regularly updated with the latest releases that we have from Oracle. So, without taking much time, I would just like to quickly show some of the screenshots of the application. So here they are. Warehouse 360 can perform different inventory transactions, and these transactions can perform directly by scanning the items. So during this time, of pandemic where people need to work at a distance, such a feature can really be helpful. So you can see here that these are some of the screenshots of receiving and put away. So you can very easily scan the articles and receive the material and put it away in your warehouse. So these are some of the examples of inbound transactions. But similarly, you can also perform outbound transactions, like for example, where we need to confirm the material and ship it to different locations. Some more screenshots where our internal movement is required between different locations of the same warehouse, or locate relocation between or movement between two different warehouses of a single organization. And it is also capable of having part count, so which has been developed as a solution based on our customer requirement experience in North America specifically. Another one of the important feature of Warehouse 360 is that it can also work offline, and it can perform transactions being offline, and the entire transactions, everything that we do and scan, will get synced automatically once it is online. So this was just a very brief glimpse of Warehouse 360, which is an in-house custom solution that we have developed. Like that, we have further solutions, but today I just wanted to talk about Warehouse 360. And just I'll take a quick look if we have any questions so far. Okay, nope. So this was the brief of Warehouse 360 and what we previously discussed about some of the key challenges around supply chain planning and how we can deal with those challenges, and how the application of Oracle supply chain planning can really be helpful considering the times that we are in today. So I would now like to open the floor for any questions if anybody has any. Okay, I would like to ask some of my team members if they can see if we have any questions available.
Nope, none at this time.
Okay. Okay, then I think, yeah, this is something we wanted to share across with all the attendees. Uh, the situation that we are in today and how Oracle as a technology can really be helpful as an application. And yeah, okay, I see. Okay, so there is no further questions or notifications. So I think then we can conclude. So,
Excellent.
Alex, would you like to
Yeah,
take over?
sure. Yeah, thank you, Ritu, for going through everything. I really appreciate that. Hopefully the information was valuable to everybody on the line today. Um, as a follow-up to today's conversation, we did record this webinar, so if there's anybody at your organization who you might like to share it with, please feel free to do that. I'm happy to pass along the recording. And then on an individual basis, if you're curious to learn more, we are happy to offer a complimentary road mapping session where we can help you understand the steps between the technology that you're leveraging today and what it might look like to get over to an Oracle solution if that's of interest to you. And then as well, we're happy to dive back into any more system specifics if you felt like there was something that you were hoping to see today or something that might be specifically impactful for your business and you wanted to spend a little more time looking at that in the system. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to coordinate on those sort of activities and see what we can do to help drive efficiency in the supply chain management of your organization. I don't see any questions, so I think we'll wrap up here. But again, wanted to thank everybody, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.